forsaken booth. The truth is you sadly mistaken. Proof I'm better than.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade, and we're going to talk about Elimination Chamber 2022, a show where there were no bangers, but nothing was awful. All right, there was something, definitely didn't like it, but it wasn't awful. It wasn't an awful show. Where to begin is sort of the question. Now, I did successfully make it through a whole 12-hour shift without the show being spoiled for me. So that was great. That was fantastic. I got to watch the show and not know who won or who lost, even though I was right on most of my predictions. So that was good. You know, strike one for your boy. And so let's start with the big picture. Brock Lesnar wins the WWE Championship by not beating Bobby Lashley. Instead, Brock just completely and totally demolished every one of his opponents, with the exception of Bobby Lashley, who was taken out by a complete freak accident. Now, I have to start with this because it is so absolutely absurd. It is absolutely absurd. I see what they were trying to do. I see what they were trying to do. But I did not like this. I did not like this. This match could have gone better to me if it had been Brock versus everybody. You know, where Brock is in the ring. Rollins is in the match first because Rollins can believably go 5 minutes with Brock. You know, he gets beat. Styles comes out, he gets beat. Riddle comes out, they fight for a little while, he gets beat. Similar on and on until he eventually has a one-on-one match with Lashley where Lashley puts up a good fight but loses. I think that's a good traditional way of doing things, especially with Brock Lesnar. Here, they decided to cut corners as usual. And this is the frustrating thing about when they decide to do things with Brock. Like when Brock won the Money in the Bank, he just came in and won. When Brock won the Royal Rumble, he just came in and won. When he wins the Elimination Chamber, he just comes in and wins. It's like, no. You destroying the drama of this whole thing. Yes, we want to see Brock wreck folks. We do want to see that. I am 100% okay with Brock wrecking folks. But you have to give me that. You know, this happened entirely too fast. We're getting word from the announcers that Bob ain't coming back. And I'm like, what the Bob? This guy's a tough dude. You mean to tell me he bopped his head like, boop, oh no, I gotta go to the back. Oh no, my head. Oh, my little milk dud head. Oh, my head hurts. Are you serious? We taking the title off of him. Oh, my head hurts. What? What is this? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? That made him look even weaker than if he had just lost. You know, at least we could have respected the Warrior going out on his shield. The clashing of blades between him and Brock. They just cross swords and he just doesn't have enough. I can respect that. But the whole, boop, oh no, an anvil tucked me in the head. I don't know what to do. And he faints. He gets on the fainting couch. No, and then Brock just comes in. He busts himself in. He's not even legally supposed to be in the match yet. And as I'm trying to process why Bob can't continue in this match, Brock has pinned 3 people already. I'm like, wait a minute. Can we slow this down? Can we, for the first time ever, I'm telling WWE to slow it down. Like, hey, partner, let me absorb this. Now, Rollins, quick elimination. Riddle, quick elimination. Styles, quick elimination. Not a fan of that. I think all 3 of those guys are guys you could have given a little bit of time to. The nature of the way that they push Brock is becoming a huge problem. It's becoming almost a Goldberg-like problem. where it makes sense for you to do what they did in terms of, I'm not even mad they put the title back on Brock, because I kind of saw it coming. It's stupid. It's really fucking stupid. It really is. But I saw it coming. At least I wasn't completely and totally blindsided by that. But I was completely breathless at how they decided to have Bob just bump his head and all of a sudden he can't wrestle anymore. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then he's doing concussion protocols. He's been out of the ring 3 minutes. He's been out of the ring 3 minutes. He's not going to be able to come back like already. He didn't go out on a stretcher, which probably would have been a better usage of like a stretcher spot. You know, man, that was so incredibly disappointing. It was hellaciously disappointing. And it just I was like, just, ugh. On top of a card that was mostly okay. Like I said, no bangers. Nothing I felt was an absolute banger. But there was nothing wrong with this card until the point they had Bob boop his head on that goddamn metal thing. I was like, man, they can't, you cannot be serious. Literally, you cannot be serious. You can't tell me that's what you came up with. You had all this time to come up with this. And you came up with Bobby Lashley bumped his head. Ergo, Bobby Lashley can't wrestle anymore. So, when Austin Theory takes that monumental F5 off the top of the pod, I don't expect to see him ever again at that point. If you bump your head and you can't wrestle anymore, he took a much bigger bump than that. He got thrown off the top of the structure. It was an amazing bump. And to be quite honest, I love the Austin Theory part of this. It was a legit Tom and Jerry cartoon with what actually it's like Tom and Jerry where Tom actually catches Jerry. You know, it was fun. You know, the Austin Theory Brock Lesnar part was fun. You know, Austin Theory sold it perfectly with the running away and the begging and him trying to lock himself in the pod. All that was fun. And Brock breaking the pod open to get to him. All of that was fun. Brock climbing the goddamn cage like a cougar. Like a cougar on a tree. Like what cougars, do cougars climb trees? Leopards do, don't they? I think cheetahs also climb trees. But like some big cat climbing the tree. It's just like he's like a monster out of a movie or something. It was tremendous. But I really was not feeling how they took Bob out of there. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Now, of course, have to look at the big picture. The likelihood of them turning Lashley, Lesnar, and Reigns into a triple threat match is pretty damn high. The likelihood of it being a triple threat match, pretty high. Do I like that? Absolutely not. I hate that. If you're new to this channel, and there's a lot of new listeners, thank God for you. I hate triple threat matches. I absolutely despise fucking triple threat matches. They are the ultimate corner cutting move. Just should have just beaten Lashley. I would have preferred if you just beat him rather than shoehorn him in and probably be the guy to take the pinfall in this fucking match. That's stupid. I fucking hate that. So my guess is that now the only option you really got is to put Bobby Lashley in the match as a triple threat match. That's the only option you got to have. I don't like it though. And I really, really, really don't like it. It waters down the Lesnar and Reigns feud. It waters down their match. What it could even be worse though is to pretend Lashley is not even in it. Is to write him out of it completely. That's even worse than the triple threat idea. The best idea, the best plan, is something they obviously will not do. That is Lashley, Lesnar, night 1. Winner wrestles Roman, night 2. That's the best plan. That's the best plan. They had a similar plan the previous year when you had Edge and you had Daniel Bryan. It would have made perfect sense to have Daniel Bryan versus Edge night 1. Winner wrestles Roman night 2. Or Roman versus Edge night 1. The winner wrestles Daniel Bryan on night 2. Would have been perfect. They turned it into a fucking triple threat match. Because triple threats are an easy way of cutting corners. I'm tired. I fucking hate triple threat fatal 4-way main events. I fucking hate them. Fucking hate them. I cannot stand it. It's so corny. It's so awful. I would rather you bump Lashley's head on WrestleMania and he don't show up. Bump his head again, goddammit. Boop, and he's out again. Fuck it. I would rather you do that than do a triple threat match. But this is incredibly frustrating. It is. I don't like how they push Brock. I don't mind Brock winning. But there's a certain way that you have to do it. In order to make everybody look strong, in order to make everybody look good, and to put Brock over even stronger by having him face everybody would have been a lot more. Would have made a lot more sense. I hate it. I hated this. I hated it. Hated it. Cannot stand it. Did it make me so angry that my blood pressure shot up? No. I was more confused than anything. And then once I got my bearings, Austin Theory was running around the ring, and I was like, oh, this is silly. This was entertaining. It was a nice little soothing bomb on the segment. But as soon as it was over, I was like, I can't believe they just bumped Bob's head like that. It just boop, and he's out. Come on, man. Y'all gotta do better than that. You gotta do better than that. It's 3 straight for Bobby Lashley. 3 straight for Brock, when it comes to taking the belt off black dudes. Not a fan of that. But, it made sense when it was Big E. Big E was probably going to lose the belt anyway. Made sense when it was Kofi. Kofi his run had kind of worn out his welcome. But Bobby didn't even get started. He didn't even get to defend the fucking belt. So, yeah, I'm not in a good headspace over that one. They can fuck themselves with that. I'm not interested. But Brock versus Roman, we knew that was going to be the case. They need to have a stipulation, and it needs to be more than champion versus champion. They need to blow this feud off once and for all time. And they need to have one match that probably cannot be topped that will put an end to this trilogy. And to be quite honest, the only thing I can think of is legitimate feud enders will have to be like an I Quit match or something like that. See, WWE have bastardized a lot of their big concepts, Hell in a Cell. They don't even, there's so many last man standing matches that have ended in draws. You can't even do that. A submission match or an I Quit match would probably be the only way you can have a definitive end to the Roman Brock feud. And that's what it needs to be. They need to just say, oh, well, sure, we got the title for title or champion versus champion. It's not officially title versus title yet. I'm pretty sure it's going to end up being that way, though. And that's nice and all, but they need to do something to entice people to show up and buy into this a little bit more. I think they've had enough singles matches where you can start throwing gimmicks in there, and I think the ultimate gimmick, and it's a WrestleMania favorite, is the I Quit match. Go for the I Quit match. And nobody has to actually say I quit, You can do referee stoppage. Well, I think you probably do a submission match for that. Yeah. You do a submission match. Roman beats people with the guillotine. He beat Goldberg on this show with the guillotine, right? We'll talk about that match in a second. But Brock uses the Kimura. That's a submission hold. Pretty much the only submission hold he really knows. He beat Hulk Hogan with a bear hug. That was in like 2002. But go submission match, and finish it off. Finish it with a referee stoppage or something like that. Nobody has to actually quit. Nobody has to actually tap out. And we get to move on from these two guys. I can't argue with their decision to have Brock and Roman again. To me, that's just yelling in the wind. We know that that's what they're going to do. I just fucking hate how we got here. I hate it. Why have Brock even lose if you're just going to take the belt back from Bob literally like 2 weeks later? That made no sense. That's so frustrating. That's incredibly frustrating. I'm not going to hold you up. All right, so I'm about to go out of order now because I had to talk about the main event first, and I spent way too much time on that. Roman Reigns defeated Goldberg in a match that everybody kind of figured Goldberg was going to lose. They did more in this match than I suspected they would, to be quite honest. I like how we got into the finish. I actually didn't mind this match. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was terrible. It was pretty mediocre as far as Roman matches go. He's had better matches with Jey Uso, but Jey Uso isn't, 56 years old, Goldberg was able to do, like, all Goldberg really needs to do is spear and the jackhammer. He doesn't really need to do too much else. But they did a decent job of really bringing in some spots. I don't feel like I bought into any of the hope spots, really. For instance, when he countered the spear, I didn't buy into it. And when you have a match that's one-sided like this, and you kind of figure, of course, Roman's going to win, you still need to have a strong hope spot where people can be like, ooh-wee, I thought for 1 second, just one measly little second, I bought in, I bit. I didn't have any of that here. I was like, Goldberg's losing. And there was nothing he could do in this match that was going to change my mind. But I did enjoy that after the big ooh-ah, it was Goldberg who landed his spear. I thought that was pretty cool. Roman did a great job of selling, which he always does. And I like how they got into the finish. They got into the finish because Goldberg was going for the jackhammer, which put himself in the position for the guillotine choke. It was a brilliant finish. All Roman had to do was hold on. And they did a good job of having Goldberg fight it for a little while and then eventually succumb to it. And I was like, okay, good. All right, that's done. It's like done and done. It's like when you get finished with your essays, for your finals. Like, yes, file that away. Now I can go do what I really want to do. That's what's Roman Reigns wrestling Goldberg. It was like he put the final period on this 25-page essay, and now he doesn't have to look at it anymore. Doesn't have to crack open any more books. He can just focus completely on WrestleMania. Of course, Goldberg wasn't going to win. I fully expect him to sign another contract, though, so don't think he's going anywhere. All right, so we've already talked about the men's Elimination Chamber. Let's talk about the Usos real quick. The Usos take out the Viking Raiders, and once again, Michael Cole is playing doctor as they clearly won't be able to wrestle. Let's move on. It's like, oh my God. Oh, I just thought about this. They CM punked Bobby Lashley. They CM punked the shit out of him. Remember when CM Punk was the World Heavyweight Champion? He got kicked in the head by Randy Orton, and then it was like, CM Punk won't be able to wrestle. Oh, too bad. We got to move on. That's exactly what they just did to Bobby Lashley. That's exactly what they just did. That's some bullshit. I'm mad about it now. I'm legit pissed. I don't like when the announcers are playing doctor. Oh, look, they clearly can't continue. It's like, what the fuck? I've seen guys take bigger bumps than this. We need to, if we're going to do that, we need to structure this shit better. The Viking Raiders can't continue because one of them got suplexed on top of the other one. Huh? Then why the fat guy should be okay then? Because he's the one who got suplexed on the other one. Well, he's the one who got suplexed. Didn't hurt him that badly. You could say, oh, the other guy, he's coughing up blizzard or whatever. And that's a wholly kayfabe thing, but it might work out. You might be able to squeeze that one through the tube. But you can't get me to believe that the big one is that bad off because they got jumped from behind. I don't mind them canceling this match because I really didn't care to see it. It's a SmackDown match anyway. And then I really enjoyed that the show was short. I really, really enjoyed that the show was like 2.5 hours. So I wasn't upset at all. that they cut this match. I wasn't upset at all. I just didn't like how they did it. It was another one of those times where nothing made sense. All right, let's talk about Madcap Moss and Drew McIntyre. All right, so I've been talking a little bit of time about the Meltzer Awards. Allow me to vote on my very first Meltzer Award. Madcap Moss is the worst gimmick, maybe of all time. Maybe of all time. Either they really, really like this guy, either they are absolutely in love with him, and this is a test, or they hate this guy's fucking guts because he whistled at Linda in the elevator or something like that. It can only be one or the other. Either they really, really like this guy and they want to see what he can do, or they like fuck him, but they can't shit in his bag anymore. You know, they can't throw bricks through his windows, slice his tires and shit. All the old stuff they used to do in the 90s, you know, throw his shoes up in the rafters or something like that. Nah, they can't do that stuff anymore. Too many weirdos with Twitter fingers that complain about it, you know? So either somebody really, really likes this guy or somebody hates his fucking guts. Who would give him that music? Like, when I first heard that shit, I was like, what is this? This is like a parody of blaxploitation theme songs. This is fucking awful. This is the worst thing on this show. Everything about this was an absolute freak show. I said, oh my fucking God. Not only is this guy wrestling in suspenders, he's a comedian. That's his character. His character is he's a comedian. He's Happy Corbin's personal comedian. He's terrible at his job. Even though the guy's built like a brick shit house, he can actually work. He's a tough motherfucker too. We'll talk about that in a second. But he wrestles in like boat shoes. And I'm like, what? He's dressed like fucking Dennis the Menace with no shirt. Why is this happening? And then he give him this music. And I said to myself, either this guy's about to be the next fucking John Cena, or he is a 6 hour podcast of how much people hate him, how much heat he had in the back. He gotta have like Rene Dupree level heat to be given this kind of a gimmick. You know, and God bless him for trying, because he's going out there doing his best. You know, bad gimmick, bad presentation, as awful as it is, he's doing very well with it, to be quite honest. He's overachieving with something that should not in any way work. He's overachieving with it. Madcap Moss is an absolute shame. Now, Drew McIntyre almost murdering him is worth discussion. They did the slingshot spot where McIntyre does this all the time. He usually does it pretty safe, but it wasn't McIntyre's fault. It was Madcap Moss's fault. Madcap Moss took the move like a power driver instead of a flapjack. He bent his head down, spiked his own goddamn head into the ring. I looked at that shit and was like, yep, his neck is broken. Clearly his neck is broken, right? I've seen Sabu do the same thing. Didn't know how to take a suplex, landed right on his head, his neck is broken. I've seen Taz take power driver. He didn't quite know how to take a power driver. He landed right on his head, his neck was broken. I'm like, clearly this guy's neck is snapped. It's over, you know? And then I realized, nope, he got a New Japan neck. He's got one of those Kota Ibushi necks where he can just spike himself and he's all right. And they gave him a minute. They cleverly covered it up by having Corbin out there get chased around by McIntyre. That gave Madcap Moss a moment or two to regain his bearings and to make sure his neck wasn't snapped into tiny pieces. And then he went and took a bunch of fucking bumps. Overhead bumps on the announce table. He took a bunch of throws. I was like, what in the hell? Like, you just landed on your fucking head. What are you doing? I can't even lie, man. Like, I walked away with a tremendous amount of respect for Madcap Moss. He botched the shit out of that flapjack. But my God, he's a tough bastard. Because I don't know if most other people, if Bobby Lashley would have taken that kind of a spike to his head, I might have bought it. And that's really another reason I'm going to keep going back to it. It's just how it is. I'm going to keep going back to it. If he'd have jammed his neck into the ring like that, and then they carted him off on a stretcher or something, all right, I can buy he's not coming back. But he just bumped his head. I mean, my 2-year-old cousin, he runs and falls down with the same level of velocity that Bobby Lashley fell and knocked his head on that goddamn. Anyway, Madcap Moss, tough bastard. This match was complete filler. I still think they did okay. Madcap Moss is doing good as being a cheesy character, but either they like him or they hate him. And I think that this can be saved if it goes dark. I hate to say he has to kind of go the Joker route, where he has to kind of be like a sadistic comedian. And I'm really kind of tired of guys doing Joker on the independents and stuff like that. So maybe not that, but there's got to be something that he can do that utilizes this character just in ways that are not so silly and goofy and over the top. Because this whole thing with Corbin can't last forever. It can't. So, there has to be a backup plan. He's not going to be Madcap Moss forever. But my God, bro, I'm casting my vote in the Meltzer Awards for worst gimmick. It is Madcap motherfucking Moss. There is nothing worse than this so far. I ain't seen shit. The combination of the look, the name, and the gear, and the music. Oh my word, bro. It's complete vomit. That's what it is. Somebody went into creative services and just threw the fuck up. He's gonna, and here it is. This looks like something that was an absolute joke that somebody else took seriously. It's embarrassing. All right, let's move on, man. I don't want to talk about Madcap Moss anymore. Jesus H Christ. All right, so if you are a catsuit fetishist, it was your night, baby. It was catsuits all over this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? There was catsuits everywhere. There was like 12 catsuits running around this joint. Elimination Chamber match, the women's edition. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Ash, Doudrop, and Bianca Belair. And Bianca Belair won the match. And the right decision was made. Clearly, this was the right decision. It was really the only decision that you could make. She looked fantastic in her bodysuit. And so did Liv Morgan. They looked very good in their bodysuits. Alexa Bliss wasn't wearing a bodysuit. She was wearing long sleeves and stuff. Nikki, essentially her outfit just added sleeves. And Doudrop was wearing plaid. Which, I looked at that and I said to myself, why on earth is she wearing plaid? Like, why is she wearing plaid? Why? It made me Google plaid. I was just so distracted by it. And it wasn't even a lot. It's just little stuff like that. When you're a wrestling nerd, you see little shit like that. You're like, wait a minute. That's so out of place. What is that? And I was like, she's wearing plaid. And I'm thinking like, they really don't want her to get over. The name Doudrop, plaid, they don't want her to get over. Nah. She was like a stack of potatoes. Lumpy. And she's wearing plaid. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh boy. I like Doudrop though. I don't like the name. I wish they could change her name. I think when she gets a little bit more serious, they're going to change her name eventually. But I did Google plaid because I wanted to know what was going on with it. And plaid is originally Scottish. So that's why she wears plaid. Because she's Scottish. And I was like, so is Nikki. And she's not wearing plaid, right? Nikki is Scottish. She's not wearing plaid. I don't know. Whatever. We got the Fiend out version of Alexa Bliss. So she's still the same old Alexa Bliss. I did like the attempt at statistics in this match where they told us that the number one entrant in the Elimination Chamber match only wins 4% of the time. The number, I think this is the number 3 entrant wins 10% of the time. So that was very cool. And they said in the later one that the world champion only retains his title in 4 Elimination Chamber matches. Considering there's like 100 of them every year, I don't know. It's kind of weird. We were gypped out of our long-term storytelling between Nikki and Alexa because Nikki was eliminated before Alexa got up there. Okay. I liked the finish. The finish was very good. We got Bianca and Rhea was the last 2 in the ring, but before they were the last 2, Alexa Bliss was in the ring with Liv Morgan. And Bianca and Rhea decided to do a little bit of one-upsmanship. So they decided they was going to do stalling suplexes, stereo stalling suplexes. And then Bianca kind of showed her up by doing squats. And they landed the suplexes, and then Rhea smacked her and said she was tired of Bianca showing her up. So they got into a bit of a brawl. And that was pretty nice. It built some heat within this match. Then Alexa Bliss eliminated Liv Morgan with Twisted Bliss. That was cool. Then Bianca KO'd Rhea Ripley. This led to Alexa Bliss and Bianca in the finals. Now, Alexa was a little bit better than usual in this match. She had actually done like 1 or 2 different moves. And in this finish, I think she actually used the mandible claw in this match. If I remember correctly, she did use the mandible claw and it got countered into the KOD. And the right person won. There's no argument to be had from me other than maybe Rhea should have been the last person, but her going before Alexa, I'm guessing they consider Alexa to be a bigger star than Rhea Ripley, I guess. So I'm okay with this. I'm 100% in on Bianca Belair, and it seems like they're doing the right thing. For Christ's fucking sake. Finally, they're doing the right thing. They had Bianca Belair win this match. Becky Lynch won her match. We'll talk about that in a second. So the right match is going on at WrestleMania. Good. Finally. Good. More bodysuits. Let's talk about more bodysuits. Becky Lynch wore a bodysuit. Lita did not wear a bodysuit. She just looked like she was going to the grocery store. Okay. Lita versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's title. I actually enjoyed this match a lot more than I thought I would. Lita's strong suit was never really in having dramatic wrestling matches. It was always she was an agile daredevil style wrestler. But she's a little bit older now. Them legs ain't got the spring in them they used to. So she's got to actually slow down and work. And they still did a really good job here. At the same time, there was some obvious botching. Lita botched a sleeper hold. Yeah, that it occurred. Go back and watch it. She didn't have that sleeper hold applied good at all. It was not at all good. But she did a great job actually selling. Like when Becky had control of the match and she was doing the Beck Exploder suplexes and it was like 2. And she did a really good job of making herself look like she was helpless. And then she countered the third one, which I thought was pretty good. There was a good hope spot with the Twisted Fate and the moonsault. I didn't quite bite, but I was like, uh-oh. If there's any chance that she's going to lose, this is going to be it. I didn't quite bite, though. So, I had more fun with this match. This match was just fun, We didn't get any quirky Lita offense, but, this match was pretty good. I enjoyed it. And I think definitely it was worth doing. It was a fun match. And Lita got a standing ovation after the match. That was great. I noticed that when Lita, they don't announce where she's from. Where the hell is Lita from? Somebody, let me know where Lita is from. They didn't announce where she was from. But, then again, it might have been kayfabe where she's from anyway. So, never mind. But I thoroughly enjoyed that match. It wasn't great. It wasn't fantastic, the best women's match of all time. But it was a damn good women's match. And I really kind of was amped for it. And I really had fun with it. So we got Becky and we got Bianca. And that's the right match. And I've already said that. That was the right thing to do. Now let's get the build together. Let's get the build working. More cat suits. If you are a catsuit fetishist, it was your night. I hope you had a ball, baby. Because Naomi, look, the more you try to cover up that booty, the stronger it gets. That motherfucker fight back. You feel me? You can't cover it up. The more you try to cover it up, the more it show out. How could you can't miss it, for Christ's sake. You can't miss. There is not enough fabric in all of Saudi Arabia to cover that ass. You can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. Why even try? But Naomi and Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte and Sonya Deville. This match, I didn't think it was great. And this was not an arm tied behind your back match. This was an arm tied to your side match. Because her arm was never behind her this whole match. Ronda Rousey wrestling in gi. I was like, it's an inventive way to utilize her judo background. Because judo is something that they kind of, I think, didn't they just have a martial artist in the Olympics? Saudi Arabia? Yeah, because they did it, a thing with the guy the last time they was in Saudi Arabia. WWE did a thing with that guy. So they kind of did a good job of bringing her in and doing the whole gi thing. Okay, they tried it. She was actually over as a babyface there, which she probably was one that hangs out in Saudi Arabia all the time. She was not wearing any makeup. I mean, Ronda Rousey looked like she just woke up. Like 100% rolled out of bed, still in her pajamas, and put on some samurai shoes and just came to fucking work. That's exactly what happened. That's what it looked like. But Charlotte, bodysuit. Sonya Deville, bodysuit. And they both look good. Charlotte was very statuesque in her bodysuit. She looked like she was wearing somebody else's skin. And Sonya Deville, look, let me tell you something about Sonya Deville. Something that I actually approved of. Her theme music is an absolute banger. Whoever designed Sonya Deville's theme song is a genius. It's fucking awesome. So you had some of the worst theme music of all time in Madcap Moss. Some of the best in Sonya Deville on the same show. The match itself was ho-hum. You know, it was filler. You had the nice little teamwork between Charlotte and Sonya Deville early. And then Charlotte's selfishness kind of took over and she just kind of let Sonya Deville get beat. It was exactly the way we thought it was going to be, where Sonya Deville threw away her crutch and her arm and, armband and everything right as the match started. But Ronda Rousey was still able to beat up Sonya Deville with one arm. Didn't do Sonya Deville any favors. It made her look like a fucking idiot. Again, another bad usage of Sonya Deville's power. Like, she has authority. Why is she the job guy in this team? It just doesn't make any motherfucking sense. But it's WWE for you. I think it served its purpose. I think this match served its purpose. But that was about it. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. It was just kind of there. The crowd seemed to really get into it. They seemed to really enjoy it. So that was really good. To back up a bit, Lita, she got a nice little standing ovation as she was going on her way out. I think that they should move Lita to the tag team division. I forget, one of my subscribers, you probably know who you are. You actually suggested that Lita continue on as a tag team wrestler. And I instantly thought Shotzi is perfect. Shotzi or Rhea Ripley as Lita's tag team partners would be great, because you can put Lita in a Sting position where she can be, the mentoring one of these young ladies who really looked up to her. I really prefer it with Shotzi. I know her father just died, so she's not going to be around that much. But Rhea Ripley's if she's not going to be in the title match at WrestleMania, then I guess the women's tag team belts is good enough, just to get Rhea Ripley on the card and get her over and do something special with her. Yeah, you have to have her team up with Lita for a little while. If it comes down to it, you can always morph that into a singles match or a feud between the two of them. I think that you don't just let Lita just go home. She did a pretty good job here. She's a little rusty, but I think she did mostly good here. And I think she can elevate a lot of women. And instead of elevating them one at a time in singles matches, do it in a tag team situation where she can hang out and have fun and, pass on some knowledge and travel with some of these young chicks and help them out. Like, why not help Zelina and Carmella right along with Rhea or Shotzi or somebody like that? Elevate them all. And I think if you add Lita to a tag team title match, you elevate those belts, you elevate Lita, and you do something that's really cool for the female talent, as far as letting their legends actually participate. I would actually bring Beth Phoenix back too. Like, who's to say we can't do like a fatal 4-way for the women's tag team titles where two of the teams are led by legends? Like, Beth Phoenix has a partner and Lita has a partner, and then you have Carmella and Zelina Vega, and then you'll have another team, and let them go at it, have fun with it. In a tag team situation, Beth Phoenix and Lita can't fuck it up. They're older, but they can't fuck it up. It's a tag team, They just come in, do their stuff, and that's it. So I wouldn't let them get out of there. I know the internet is saying that Lita is done, and they gave her the big standing ovation at the end of the match like she was done. But they need not to let her be done, Keep her around, To get back to Ronda Rousey and Naomi, I don't know what you do with Naomi. I mean, she won this match. Now what? She and Sonya Deville are going to have some kind of blow off match. They've already wrestled, So what more can you do? Naomi's beaten Sonya Deville 2 or 3 times already. I don't know what more you can do, but that feud clearly isn't over. So I don't know. Sonya Deville, of course, successfully wrestled in Saudi Arabia as a gay woman and didn't get her head cut off. So that was interesting. I wonder how we're going to spin that. Maybe we're going to say that they got kidnapped and this was a body double and she really did get her head cut off. Maybe. I don't know. Was that the entire show? I think so. I think that's the entire show. There was a little bit of a piece of something that I missed where they said the Miz had to make a phone call. I wonder who the Miz is going to call. And to be quite honest, I did not see Miz and Rey Mysterio. It was not on the main card. It must have been on the pre-show, and I didn't watch the pre-show. I didn't have time. So the show was fine. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. I thought, I hated the men's Elimination Chamber match because I hated how they treated Bobby Lashley. Since I'm a huge mark for the guy, I'm not going to get over it. He literally bonked his head. He bonked his head, man. He was like, boop. And he's like, oh no, I can't go on. How do I go on? Where can I be? I'm like, oh God. Come on. Get the fuck out of here with that. Everything else, though, was pretty predictable, but still added little elements of drama to it. It was enough drama to it to make it interesting. So nothing. I didn't hate anything other than the way Brock won that match. Brock winning didn't even bother me. It was just the way that he won. And but I enjoyed everything mildly. I didn't hate nothing. So this was our first Saudi show that did not feature Mansoor. And I think we've evolved beyond needing Mansoor. We don't need Mansoor anymore, right? Now the real road to WrestleMania begins. 6 weeks of Raw and SmackDown. How could they possibly fuck this up even more than they've already fucked it up, and they fuck it up every year? Who knows? Maybe they'll put the title back on Lashley in the middle of Raw or something like that because Brock stubbed his toe. And the doctor, Michael Cole, has decided that, Brock obviously can't compete with a stubbed toe. I mean, why would he ever want to do that? and too much scar tissue, and all of a sudden, you know, Bob is the champion again through Brock Lesnar getting the hiccups or something silly like that. That's so frustrating, man. The more I talk about it, the madder I get. I need to cut this off. I need to cut it. That's enough. All right. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Please wash your head, protect your goddamn neck. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Old non-aggression. Once that lesson sets in, you'll see a session, but you got an affection for no progression.